This is the step-by-step guide to fixing your credit. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you the thought process on how you should look at your credit and why there's certain times when things like negative accounts might actually be that bad for you. So stay tuned so you don't miss anything. Hey y'all, my name is Tomy Boboy, your credit and personal finance coach. If this is your first time on my channel, I'd love to say welcome. Typically on this channel, I'm just talking about credit and personal finance. So if you're interested in achieving financial freedom and improving your credit, then be sure you hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now let's deep dive into how you can go about fixing your credit step by step. Honestly, there's this notion out there that you gotta be like a genius or you have to know a lot just to be able to fix your credit. And honestly, it's just not that true, right? I think it's a lot of credit repair companies like to act like what they're doing is rocket science or it's something that's very difficult. And I'll be honest, there is a lot of stuff that you have to know, a lot of little details, but it's something that you can at least do a general job of and be able to have decent results, right? And that's typically why with my credit repair company, we don't really just take anybody. We typically take someone who it's not an issue that being able to learn how to fix their credit. It's more so that they don't have the time to do it. And so they bring us in so we can actually do it for them. But one of the main reasons I actually decided to start this channel was because of a few reasons, right? One of the biggest reasons being that I know that I can only help so many people myself, right? And by me shooting videos like this, I'm able to reach a lot more people and get the information out to a lot more people who can take action, and I can be able to help fix their credit. Another thing is, I know that with my credit repair agency, we don't typically work with everybody. It was typically the only times we work with someone is if they're in a situation where they might not have the time to be able to fix the credit on their own, and they would rather just pay someone to do it for them. That's typically the times whenever my company steps in to help someone. The average person, we will typically give them the information and see if they're able to do it themselves. But if they prefer not to, then that's whenever we'll step in. And so my plan with this is to make it where credit is not overwhelming and you have step-by-step tips that you can take so you're able to see large improvements in your credit score. Now, before we deep dive into it, I want to make sure that we all understand or we're all on the same page about how a credit score works. Now, there is something called a FICO credit score. That's pretty much the score that majority of lenders are using, right? They get their scores from a company called FICO or the Fair Isaac Corporation, but they have FICO scores, different types of FICO scores. But the general idea with the FICO score is that it ranges from 300, which is the lowest score you can have, to an 850, which is the best score you can have. So if you look at that and you do the math on it, you really have about 550 points to play with. Right? You have 550 points that can either bring you up or keep you down to the very bottom. Now, your credit score breaks down into 5 different categories. The biggest category, which is 35% of your score, is your payment history. Pretty much just means whether you're paying your bills on time, month to month, if you get like collections accounts, late payments, charge-offs, those typically impact the 35% portion of your score, the payment history. The next biggest section is going to be 30%, which is credit utilization. All they're really looking at is how much of your available credit are you using. So let's say that you have a $1,000 credit card. The more of that credit card you're using, the higher your credit card utilization or your credit utilization is going to be. So for example, if I have a $1,000 credit card and I use $500 on that credit card, then my credit utilization is 50%, which is actually really high. But if I'm only using $100 on that $1,000 credit card limit, then my credit utilization is 10%, which is still a little high, but it's decent. It's good enough. The next category of your score is actually 15%, and that is length of credit. So basically in length of credit, they're looking at how long you've had your accounts open, right? So pretty much all that is saying is someone who has an older credit file or credit report that's been established a lot longer, it kind of helps them see how you've performed over time, right? So someone who has a credit file that's averaging about 10 years is going to be getting a lot more points in this category than someone who has a credit file that's only been open for about a year. So that equates to about 15% of your score, and it's just a lot harder to manipulate just because what you have to open accounts and just keep them open. So this is a category that I typically don't look too much at. The next category is 10% of your score, and it's called credit mix. Basically, your credit mix is just looking at making sure that you're using different types of credit. So they want to see that you have a mix of, for example, installment loans like a car loan or a personal loan or home loan, mortgages, things like that, mixed with revolving credit. So you have credit cards. You know, they just want to kind of see that you're able to use different types of credit, and you're mixing, you know, you have a good mix of them, so they know how you behave with having different types of credit available to you. The final 10% of your score is, for some reason, this is the section that it seems like everybody cares the most about, right? It's 10% of your score, and it's it's called new credit, but really we know it better as inquiries. So it seems like anywhere you go, people are always asking, how do you remove inquiries? How do you remove inquiries? And it consists of about 10% of your score, right? And they're just looking at how often you're opening new accounts. If you actually do have inquiries and you're curious about how to get them removed, we'll be touching on it a little bit here, but I actually have a video that focuses specifically on inquiries. I'll link it down below in the description. That way you can actually just be able to know exactly what you need to do if you have a ton of inquiries you're trying to take care of. So yeah, those are the 5 categories of your score. All those 5 categories make up your FICO score. Now in this guide, guys, we're just gonna really focus on 2 of those 5 categories. And that's gonna be, we're gonna be focusing on the payment history and the credit utilization. The reason being is, again, payment history is worth 35% of your score, and credit utilization is worth 30% of your score. So together, those make up 65% of your entire score. And if you actually do the math on it, that comes out to 357 points that you have available. So if you imagine, the lowest score you can have on a FICO score is a 300. So 300 plus, if you're able to get the full 357 points, let's just say in theory that you're able to do that, you would now have a 657 score. Your score would be 657, right? And that's not even including the other sections. And if you were just able to get a little bit of each of those other sections, points from each of those other sections, you would easily be able to get into the 700s, right? So that's why I always try to tell people, focus on these 2 sections, and that's where you're going to see the biggest gains for you when it comes to your credit score. Now, to actually get started and be able to improve your credit score, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to actually pull your credit file. Now, typically I recommend that you just go to the actual source. I mean, there's a lot of these credit monitoring websites that allow you to pull your credit, things like that, but typically they charge you something. But what you can do is there's actually a government site. I believe it's freeannualcreditreport.com or annualcreditreport.com. I'll link it down below. I actually shot a video that teaches you exactly how to pull all the files, because you can actually get 3 different credit reports and how to pull it from each bureau. So I'll link that video down below as well if you want to watch that. But you want to make sure that you pull your report first, so you actually know what you're dealing with, right? So you have an idea where your credit utilization is. You know exactly what kind of accounts you have showing up on there. And that's going to be able to give you a solid starting point, so you know exactly what steps you need to take to be able to reach whatever goals you have. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on your credit utilization. Now, with your credit utilization, you want to be below 10%. You never want to go above 10%. But quite honestly, guys, if you can stay under the 1 to 2% range, I think that's going to be the best for you, to be quite honest. That's when you're going to see that you're able to capitalize and catch the majority of that section, right? You're able to catch the majority of that category of points. So there's really 3 points I have to make for this section. Point number 1, guys, if you don't have a credit card at all, you have no types of credit cards, not even a secured card or even store cards, then that's the first thing you're going to want to do. You want to get a credit card, because if not, you're losing, I think it's like 160 something points right off the bat, right? So you want to make sure that you have some sort of credit card. But the trick is, you want to have credit cards but not be using them. So if you're one of those people who if you have a credit card, this is most of us, right? This is exactly what I was doing when I was in college. You know, I didn't know nothing about credit. And so I got a credit card and I immediately just started maxing that thing out, right? I was buying left and right, treating it like it was basically my money, right? And that's kind of something you want to watch out for. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be maxing out these cards. You want to get a credit card and pretty much just keep it in your drawer. Don't even carry it with you day to day. Or if you have to, cut the card up so you're not using it at all. Because if you're maxing out these cards, not only are you going to have new debts now that you have to make payments on, right? You are now be losing a lot when it comes to your credit utilization. You're going to be pretty much losing a majority of the points available in the credit utilization category. So if you don't have a credit card, be sure to get one. Now, for the people who have credit cards, you really have two options when it comes to it. Let's say, for example, I have a $1,000 credit card and it's pretty much maxed out, right? I have a $1,000 credit limit and my current balance on that credit card is $1,000. Now I have two options here, right? One, I can pay down the $1,000. So if I have $1,000 in my savings, I should immediately use it to pay off that credit card. And that way now I have 0% utilization, right? I have no debt on that credit card. Just by me doing that, my score should jump up immediately up to 165 points, depending on how my credit score is set up. Now, if you have debt on your credit cards and you're not able to immediately pay them off, then what you want to do is go with option number 2, which is adding more credit, right? Increasing your credit limits. So really you can go about it 2 ways with this. One, if depending on what type of credit cards you have, you might be able to just reach out to the credit card company and be like, just be straight up with them. Ask them, say, hey, can you increase my credit limits? You know, I'm using this card, I'm paying it off, and I'm keeping a balance with you guys, but I'm trying to say something like, I'm trying to make bigger purchases, but it's difficult for me because my credit limit's so low. You know, try to say something like that, and it's going to entice them to actually increase your limit. Now, guys, don't try to use this technique if you have not been paying off your credit cards or you've been missing payments over and over again. They're more than likely not going to be willing to increase your limit, because then it just puts more risk on them. But if they see that you've never missed payments or you continue to make your payments and you're paying down your credit cards from time to time and then adding purchases on there, then they might be inclined to increase your limit. And that would be the best case scenario, is being able to just increase that credit limit. Now, the second option is actually getting more credit. So if you're in a situation where you can't immediately pay off those credit cards balances, you try to talk with your lender and they're not offering to increase your credit limits, then what you can do is you can add more credit. So I've actually shot videos, I'm gonna attach them down below, about store cards that I've come in contact with that can actually give you, they have a pretty much like a 95% approval rate. So you can actually use those to add to your credit profile, and it will lower your credit utilization. So there's cards, for example, like a My Jewelers Club card, that's 5,000 credit limit. There's a New Coast Direct, I believe it's 5,000 as well as a few other different credit lines that are a little smaller. In total, you can get close to about 15,000 in credit limits, or in credit total through those. Now, guys, again, I wouldn't recommend that you apply for all of it. You really don't need all of it. You just need enough to get your credit utilization down. The easiest way to explain it is, let's say, for example, you have a credit card, right? If you have a credit card that's $1,000 limit and you max out that $1,000 limit credit card, then by adding a My Jewelers Club or adding one of the New Coast Direct, for example, let's say that you got those two, that would give you an additional $10,000 in credit, right? In credit limit added to your credit profile. So added to your credit report. Now, instead of the lender seeing that you have $1,000 balance on $1,000 credit limit, which means you have 100% credit utilization, which is not good, they're not going to see that your credit utilization is actually less, right? So I think that'll bring you to somewhere around 10%, maybe less, I believe, credit limit, because you have $1,000 balance. You still have that same $1,000 balance, but now you have 11,000 in available credit, right? You have the $1,000 credit card, and you have the My Jewelers Club $5,000, and you have the New Coast Direct $5,000, right? So that just kind of gives you an example. Again, guys, you don't need to have all the credit lines. It just depends on your specific situation. So if you have questions, you're not sure, throw something down in the comments and then I'll try to answer all the questions I can. So guys, if this is making sense so far, be sure that you throw a like on this video. That way I know that it makes sense. And if you're getting value from it, throw a like on there as well, so we can get this video out to as many people as possible. Next, what we're going to jump into is the payment history section. This category accounts for 35% of your score. So the way the payment history section of your score works is pretty simple. Pretty much what they're going to do is they look at how well you've been making your payments, right? So they look, let's say, for example, that I have one credit card. That's the only thing I have on my credit profile, right? And every month I'm supposed to be making credit card payments. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to look at your credit profile and see, okay, in 1 year, let's just look at a year, for example. Tommy was supposed to make 12 credit card payments, right? And if, let's say I made all 12 of those payments, then my payment history percentage is going to be 100%, right? But if there's a situation where, let's say, for example, I missed one of those payments, so I only made 11 of my credit card payments on time out of the 12 payments I was supposed to make for that year, that would end up dropping my payment history rating down to about a 91%. Now, honestly, you want to stay above 95. I'd probably say closer to like 98, 99 is going to be the best, so you don't lose any points in this category. That's why I always say that it's key that you try not to miss any payments for anybody reporting on your credit report. Now, if you're ever in a situation where you have a bunch of accounts reporting on your credit report and you're not sure if you're going to be able to make all the payments for that month, then I always recommend you reach out to these companies, guys. You'd be surprised if you reach out to them, you guys can maybe come to an understanding, right? They can maybe cut you a little slack, say, hey, make half the payment, and then once you get your paycheck or whatever in a week, then you can pay the remaining amount, right? And they might work something out with you where they don't even report it to the credit bureaus, and it shows as you have paid on time. You haven't had any missed payments, things like that. So always try to talk with your the lender, so with your bank, or for whether it's credit card, auto loan, whatever it is, so you guys can come to an agreement. So let's say you're in a situation where you already have some late payments, right? And now you need to go about, you want to know how you can actually go about fixing the situation, right? Maybe you haven't paid you've missed 3 months worth of payments on a credit card or something, and at this point, you're saying, Tommy, it's too late. I can't. That's good advice now, but I've already did that, and now I need to figure out what I can do going forward. Well, guys, going back to that example that I gave y'all, I had one credit card and it was giving me 12. It was reporting 12 on-time payments a year, right? And in the example, I said I missed one of the payments, so that means that I had only made 11 on-time payments out of 12. Well, guys, it's pretty much, if I'm in a situation where I'm missing payments, I need to have so much positive payment history that it really outweighs the negative payment history. Okay. So to give you an idea, let's say instead of me having one credit card, I had 5 credit cards, right? If I have 5 credit cards that are reporting every single month and I only missed that one payment, what does the math come out to? Now, at the end of that first year, I now have 60 on-time payments, right? 12 months worth of payments for every single one of those cards. So 5 cards. And that means that I have 59 on-time payments, because I still only missed one payment. I have 59 on-time payments out of 60, which means now I'm back in the 98 percentile range, right? So that's what you want to do is if you've missed payments already, you need to try to get as much positive credit history as you can. So as much stuff that's reporting on your credit, showing that you're making payments, to kind of wash out those negative payments. And also, guys, I will be shooting a video, depending on when you're watching this, it might be shot already, about how to get rid of late payments. Also, for those of you guys who have gone past the late payments, you've gotten charge-offs, you've gotten collection accounts, so on and so forth. I've already shot videos talking about how to get rid of any collection accounts, how to get rid of charge-offs, so on and so forth. So be sure that you check, I'll include them down in the description below. So be sure you check the description and watch those videos as well, so you can figure out how to get rid of those too. But guys, really that's the gist of it, man. I know it sounds crazy. Well, maybe you watch this video and you feel like it was too easy, or maybe you feel like you thought it was going to be even more complex than what it is. Guys, that really is how simple it is. By you just following those steps, guys, you could easily get into the 700s. Easily get into the 700s, guys. So follow those steps and you'll be able to reach whatever your financial goals are, especially when it comes related to credit. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, you found value in this video, please make sure you hit the like button down below so YouTube can pick it up and be able to get this video sent out to as many people as possible. So the more people I get liking this video, the more people I have subscribing and commenting below, YouTube's going to see that and be able to shoot this video out to even more people, and we're going to be able to impact more people and get this information to as many people as possible. So guys, be sure that you like this video, subscribe down below so you don't miss any of my future content as well. And guys, be sure that you check out the videos again in the description. That way you know how to take care of any other issues that you might have in your credit. And so guys, again, my name's Tommy, and that's going to be it for this video. I'll see you at the next one.